Hey, Swedish Terapeut here. Hey, this is the end of all of our sequences. So we have 0 through 15, and the next time I do a recording, hopefully we'll put them all together. No, not hopefully. We will put them all together. So we have an hour-long push-pull session, or movement, or just like I think that was sequence 14, it had the little lemon and he was being juiced. So that's what we're going to do. The end of this is my epilogue, Swedish Terapeut epilogue. Because I have so much to say and YouTube only gives me 5,000 words, I decided to do a presentation. And at the end, we're going to listen to an interview by 2 medical doctors. And I just hope somebody out there watching thinks, hey, maybe there's something to this. And Swedish Terapeut has an idea that we can do something simple. We can help our bodies feel better. And if we feel better, then our family feels better. And our overall goal is to feel more so we can live better, and eventually maybe we can start taking care of Mother Earth. So follow me. I have a little presentation, and if you stick around for the whole thing, I'll be really glad. And if you decide that it's not for you, so be it. Okay, for you may. Sometimes I forget how this whole thing works, so I'm going to share my open office. I'm so very glad that I have a computer, and my husband is my Apple genius. But here's what I can do. I wanted to show you a picture of a pioneer, and this pioneer is, it's in Swedish, pioneer, and this is, again, it is an engineer soldier. An engineer soldier, this is a Swedish word, and then first gångsman, so the first to do something. That's exactly what a pioneer is, pioneer. So this is Dr. Sutton, and this is my cute mom, who I adore, and she did a lot for me, obviously growing up. But here, I just wanted to let everyone know, if you want to click on this or type it in, Des Moines Medical University has a great little article about the powerful force behind muscle energy, and that was Dr. Sally. Dr. Sally received the Pioneer Award in May 2013 from the Des Moines University Osteopathic School in Des Moines. And this is supposed to be pioneer in English. Oh well. So, what are we talking about pioneers? This is the whole idea of healthcare. And I have, because I'm a body worker, there's a lot of different modalities. And the one thing I don't want to do is to push one person away because I say one thing that could be construed as being right or left. I'm not red, I'm not blue, I'm purple. And really what I want is, I don't want your body to be treated like my mom's body did, and I don't want your body to break down like my mom's body did. And it wasn't only her body, it was eventually her mind. And that's not what I want for anybody. So YouTube gives me 5,000 words to write, so I just want to point out here that there's so many other people out there. Vladimir Yonda, Carl Lewitt, Donald Ingber, Helen Leggevin. She's the director of the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health in the United States. Gil Headley, a Somonaut, Sue Hitzman. Oh, Sue, I forgot. I spelled your name wrong. It's Hitzmann. Creator of Melt. I'm so sorry, Sue. Robert Libby, and for anybody that, this book is a marvelous book. Thank you, Robert. It's a marvelous book, And it has great little sections on mechanoreceptors. And these mechanoreceptors, they do all sorts of things. And they're in our connective tissue. And mechanoreceptors sense pressure. And that's why at Swedish Terapeut, we're using this and we're doing, oop, it fell, push and pull. So we're pushing and we're pulling at the same time. John Sharkey, he's tried really hard to make a difference, and he's done a lot of speaking. I like what he has to say. And then there's Neil Tyson. Thies. Sorry if I pronounce it wrong. But he is a liver pathologist, and he did something, wrote an information about the interstitium, and it's a new organ. And it was just like, bombshell, wow, this is so cool. But this is what the osteopaths have known for a long time. So Dr. Sally is an osteopath in Des Moines, Iowa, was. She retired probably around 86 years old. Amazing woman. Still alive. But she wanted to know more about what Fred Mitchell Sr. was teaching with muscle energy. And he couldn't explain it, so she invited him up to Fort Dodge, Iowa, and said, I'll feed you, and you teach me. And then a couple other people came along, and so we have muscle energy technique in Iowa because Dr. Sally Sutton wrote the first tutorials. And then we have Leon Chatow in the United Kingdom, and he was also in the 1950s, and he brought up a new muscle energy technique from Thomas Jefferson Rudy, who was taught by A.T. Still. And who is A.T. Still? Oh, there's another pioneer, A.T. Still. And here's a great link, because this book is top notch. Thank you, John Lewis. A.T. Still, From Dry Bone to Living Man. I know you don't have time to read all this, so feel free to pause it and read whatever you want. But osteopathy started in the 1870s and probably even before that, because Andrew Taylor Still was supposed to be a preacher because his father was, but he went into medicine. And he had some terrible life situations, and he lost a lot of children. And something called meningitis affected these young people, and he lost his wife and he remarried. But here was an alternative to the addictive drugs of the day, like cocaine. And he said, I think we can do better. And so from him, then we have Daniel David Palmer studied with him, went up to Davenport, Iowa, and started chiropractic care. Oh, and I spelled chiropractic care wrong. Darn it. All right. And then we have somebody that was at the chiropractic school and said, I think I can do better. And I think that if we put a check word saying napropath, which means to correct, and the Greek word pathos, then we can have a new study that means correcting the cause of suffering, pain. Fantastic! So that didn't go off at all in the United States. He started a school in Chicago, Illinois, but a Swede came over to Chicago, Illinois, and then in 1970 took it to Sweden. And there's quite a few napropaths here, napropaths. Then we have somebody in Australia, totally away from the internet, no social dilemma problems here, because there is no internet. And this is in the 1950s, and Tom Bowen, no formal training, said, I think I can help people feel better. And so then that was taken by this wonderful man named Julian Baker to the United Kingdom from Australia in 1993. So there's the Bowen technique. Then we have an Italian who was a physical therapist who worked with farmers in their homes that had to get back out in the field. And being a physical therapist, he said, I think I can help you. And he did. But since he didn't follow what the hospital said he should, they fired him. So luckily, his daughter, Dr. Carla Stecco, who is an orthopedic surgeon in Padua, Italy, and her brother, Dr. Antonio Stecco, who works in New York, United States. They're doing a great job continuing his legacy. And there's fascial manipulation, and the some people know it as Stecco method, but fascial manipulation. I did witness my first introduction to that was at the Fascial Research Congress in Washington, D.C. in 2015, September 2015, because as a massage therapist, I wasn't taught anything about fascia. But there was a lot of things saying this might not just be muscle. So on Andrea, he did a treatment on a chiropractor who had a bad knee and was going to have a knee replacement at some point, but he's a chiropractor, he has a lot of work to do. And I called that chiropractor. I emailed him a year later, and I said, how's your knee pain? Well, as of September 2016, he never he didn't have the replacement for the knee. Pretty cool. So, and then there's Janet Travell and Dr. David Simons. And Janet Travell was White House doctor for John F. Kennedy. She had him do all sorts of things like rocking in a chair for movement, getting the Vetska flowing. She had him swimming every day. And Dr. Janet Travell and David Simons wrote these 2 volumes of books. And luckily, just fantastic information. But my mom lived in this time, and she had a right hip replacement, she had a left knee replacement, she had a right rotator cuff repair, she had a right knee replacement, and so no one ever said, hey, I think we can do better for you. And then we have Dr. Stephen Topaldos, and so luckily I met an osteopath, Dr. Joanne Jenowick, and Dr. Joe Figueroa in Des Moines, Iowa, and both of them introduced me to fascial distortion model. And so these are just tools, and they have a great foundation in connective tissue. So, what are we doing? Western medicine might need to think about adapting. Because we have COVID now, and eventually there will be time there'll be post-COVID, but there's all sorts of biverkningar or side effects from having a virus to living in a socially different way. So here is a fantastic interview and discussion from Chris Kresser. So go ahead and type that in. Listen to it in its entirety. And this was right before Thanksgiving in 2020. And it was just like, oh, brilliant. And then here's something else that came before Thanksgiving. And I just listened to it when my husband and I was getting ready for our food truck. And he always thinks I need to be working more on the food truck thing. But every once in a while, I jot down notes. And I really want you guys to hear part of this interview with Dr. Kevin Pho and Dr. Cathy Kim. I loved this video. So there is a long description in the show notes, and there are lots of different things you can click on, but let's just go together and let's find out what we can listen and learn from. And before I go on, these are those muscle energy books that Dr. Sally helped make with Fred Mitchell Sr. and Fred Mitchell Jr. was responsible for putting them out to the world. So if you don't have Robert Libby's book, he's a massage therapist, a registered massage therapist from Canada. Woohoo, massage therapy. And he wrote a fantastic book, and I will put a link in the show notes for eHealth Learning because he did a webinar for them that was knocked it out of the ballpark if you want to have more information. So I'm going to share my computer screen, and just listen a while to Dr. KevinMD podcast with Dr. Cathy Kim. We have to do all this sharing. Click, click, click. All right, here we go.
She wrote the KevinMD article, Fascia in Primary Care, When Chest Pain is Not in Your Chest. Cathy, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
So we'll get into your article in a little bit, but first off, can you share your story and your journey to where you are today?
Several years ago, I had an injury that had a lot of consequences after, a lot of pain and things that weren't explained by my original injury, which was a fracture. So I used that as an opportunity to explore alternative ways of treating it, because I already, after 20 plus years in primary care, I already knew all the options, and I wasn't really excited about them, to be honest. So I sought chiropractic, sports chiropractic care, acupuncture, and including myofascial physical therapy. And I was just amazed at how fast the function could return when you targeted the correct mechanical problem. And since I was really much more symptomatic than most patients, as I was doing my primary care well-woman exam, any kind of visit, people would bring up these things, these complaints, and I would say, well, let's try this because I know it worked. I understand how it works. So how about we try this? And it's an amazing point to have this option of offering that to patients instead of writing prescriptions and having them walk out still in as much pain as they came in with. I was always a big listener to my patients, so they might come out less burdened or more validated. But to actually have them walk out feeling better physically, that was a great gift I could give, a reward in practice that I had never had before. So it just grew to be more complex kind of interactions with patients. And so this article, the chest pain article, was the beginning of my blog article series to show how you could use this, how it applies to primary care, and that is not always just for athletes or people with mechanical injuries like knee pain, things that you would tend to think are more like in the realm of straight kind of specialty medicine. So anyway, that's how I came to this area, and then experiencing what fascia was and kind of understanding it, that it's new. It's like new frontier, right? So
New frontier.
I looked into how many books are written about fascia from 2000 to 2010. It's only about 7, and it's about 30.
Yeah, there's lots of books that have been written about it. And again, I don't want to be the one to have this right-left dichotomy and to have fingers pointing, well, she's not right and he's right and no one's right. I just want somebody to feel better, feel more, use those mechanoreceptors. So this is a great read. It's so simple. Thank you, Robert Libby. Go out there and have some fun and feel more so you can live better. Thank you, Dr. Vankin Chatterjee. And then eventually you will feel better, your family will feel better, and the earth will feel better. Okay, hej då! Tack så mycket för att kom hit till Swedish Terapeut. Hej då!